We are back. No football, but we're back. This is the one and only OSB Sports Podcast Show. Of course, I'm Scott Matthews, and I am joined by my two co-hosts. First of all, the one and only Teddy Brooks, CEO of the Sports Profits. What's up, Teddy?
Yeah, glad to be here. I'm excited. We got no football, but we still got a lot of bets to win. I think we're going to be good.
We're keeping the Big Kahuna offset because the Big Kahuna's got a little something going on. We don't want him near us because we don't want to catch whatever he has. But he's that determined to be here. The one and only Big Kahuna of OSB Sports. What's up, Big Kahuna? How you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling pretty damn good, but I think
you look good.
Thank you. I think the books put a hit out on me after what I did to them on Super Bowl, man.
Well, you were the only amigo of the three of us that got the right side of the game. I dominated on my props, but you did have the winner of the Super Bowl. Congrats to you.
If you dig a little deeper, I had a teaser. I had the under. I won by a hair. And we had some interesting props. Just goes to show you. The odds makers couldn't get the biggest game of the year right. They put the wrong team favorite. So what does that tell you when you got to look at these small college basketball games going forward? So don't always just listen to the odds makers, people.
I don't know about that, Teddy. What do you think? I think they have the right.
I respectfully disagree. I think the 49ers dominated the whole game.
They outplayed them.
I think a little bit of poor coaching at the end lost the game, and of course, Patrick Mahomes, right? Patrick Mahomes won that game with his legs.
Game 4 downs twice.
They weren't prepared to. And look at this. I'm just going to throw something out there. I'm not saying anything's fixed, but the Chiefs led the league in offensive holding this year. They led the league in offensive holding calls. They did not get one offensive holding call called against them in this game. There weren't a lot of penalties. I will say.
San Fran started with a lot of penalties early in that game, jumping off sides, making mistakes, kills drives. At the end of the day, that's what happens, In football, the penalties and all the crazy things, it's just a game changer.
It's a game of inches, so it all adds up. But at the end of the day, there are some of the defensive schemes. They fired the defensive coordinator right after that game. There were some times where they should have pressed blitz and they pulled off. There were some times where they should have pulled off and they blitzed. And
Mahomes carved a big hole. I don't know. On those fourth down plays, it was amazing how they just let him go, and he just ran, 18, 22 yards, 13 yards.
Rips of yardage.
Is he the GOAT? That's the question.
Is he the GOAT? Well, I would say at this point in time, no, not yet. Maybe another one, maybe a couple more. I can't. First of all, Brady beat him to win one of his Super Bowls. Brady won 7. Mahomes has won 3. Yeah, they've won 3 out of the last 5 Super Bowls, I think
3
it is.
out of the last 6. The thing
I don't know about the GOAT.
Here's the thing. Mahomes said himself, I'm not the GOAT because Brady beat me. He said himself. So.
Exactly. And not only beat him, dominated. Was it like 31-9 game?
Well, here's the thing about Mahomes. He's had that same core team. Yeah, he lost some receivers, obviously, but he's always had Kelsey. He's had Andy Reid there. So I'd like to see what he could do. Like Brady went to another team and still did it, right? So
in his first year.
I think that's what really cemented Brady as the GOAT, was going to Tampa Bay and still doing it.
Right.
That's really what put the nail in his GOAT coffin. I'm not wearing my GOAT hat today.
I see that.
Yeah,
wow. And you didn't give it to me, so I guess
decided to switch it up.
Maybe the Big Kahuna's got it. He gave you the hat because you were the only one that did have Kansas City. But anyways, listen, that's all said and done, guys. We're moving on. It's all about different things in our world. And Big Kahuna's going to have some big news about some things we got coming up a little bit later on in the show that we're going to be moving and grooving this year into some different directions. So I'm pretty damn excited about that.
Real quickly, I'm looking at 2025 Super Bowl odds. They got San Fran favorite.
Nah. Bet against it.
Right here.
They can't win it. I don't know. They haven't won it since Montana.
Unless I'm looking at, it says San Fran 5-1, KC plus 650.
I think it's going to be a long shot this year. I got this vibe that like some surprise team.
Detroit plus 1,200.
Interesting.
know.
I think it's too. Well, you know what? Let's save that for maybe the summertime.
Yeah, it's way too far in advance.
Let's lay off football.
Well, we got nothing to talk about in July. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what? We got a lot to talk about now because this is the time of the year that gets pretty damn exciting in the world of basketball. We're going to be heating up with some amazing college basketball the month of February, going into the tournaments in March, and then the big dance, obviously, in the middle of March all the way to the beginning of April. We got the NBA right now on hiatus. They went on hiatus on Friday for the All-Star break, so there's some exciting things going on there. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA, what you guys think about any surprises or who's up, who's looking right, who's looking wrong at this point in time. But I wanted to kick it off with Teddy because I know he's got some big games lined up with college basketball this week, and obviously that's his wheelhouse sport. I love college basketball, and I know the Big Kahuna's into the NBA mainly, but definitely want to talk about some key matchups on Saturday. We got a big board of action in college hoops.
Big board. A lot of ranked teams playing.
If you want to kick it off, by all means,
I'm gonna kick
let's
it off.
do it. Or unless you have something to say before.
I want to just run through the top 10 against the spread teams, full game and first half in college basketball. I'm going to keep it really quick. Top 10 teams against the spread, full game. Minnesota number 1, 21-3. Texas A&M CC 17-5. Richmond 18-6. Cal State Northridge, who I just had, 18-6. Green Bay 18-7. I'm just going to run through the next.
Now, who the hell would be playing those teams?
New Mexico, Iowa State, Morehead State, Troy, Eastern Washington. You are making big money if you're betting any of these teams, so keep your eye out for these teams right here. First half teams. James Madison, 22-4 against the spread
playing
first
good
half.
ball. Playing good ball.
UConn, of course, great team. Grand Canyon, Utah State, Auburn, Samford, Purdue, Houston, Morehead State, North Carolina.
I got to be honest with you before I kick it over to Big Kahuna. I think there's only two teams in college basketball that stand out right now. Everyone else is just falling into the fray. But Purdue and Connecticut, I mean, they're just absolutely a class above the rest at this point in time.
Ranked teams are just getting killed
left
by
and
right.
Unranked teams,
And here's the trend.
You see the numbers on
Here's the trend. So unranked teams at home, ranked teams coming in, traveling.
It's like 50-50, right?
No. I think the unranked teams are covering the spread 60-something percent of the time right now. 50-50 maybe on the outright.
Yeah.
But again, so here's what that shows me. These are young kids. They go into these environments, these hostile. College basketball has some real hostile environments.
Definitely.
And they can't handle it because they're not professional. So watch out when you see an unranked team going hosting a ranked team.
Especially when the unranked team is favorite against the ranked team.
Yeah.
Check those numbers out.
Yeah.
They even get more interesting.
And then we'll pass it to the Kahuna, and then I'll talk about my games.
All right, Big Kahuna, I know you're not feeling your best, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
I did some work for tomorrow. And, hey, let's not forget about NBA All-Star Game. I know it's more of a show than a game, but, the East is favorite 2.5. It seems the total every year just increases. I remember it was 250, 280,
right,
364.
Yeah, nuts.
364.
That means they got to average about 8 points a minute, if you think about it. 4 baskets.
It's just obviously a show.
But they could do it. They've been going over a lot lately, and there's totally a lot of high scoring.
You're betting the overs. You're making money over the years. I'm not really going to comment to 364.
Right. Who's your best bet on Saturday? You have a best bet in college basketball?
I went right to the top. You mentioned UConn. I mean, what can you say about UConn? But interesting matchup tomorrow. Number 4, Marquette. Now, no doubt this is a prelude to the Big East tournament. Last year, Marquette beat them 2 out of 3 times. UConn is at home. The line is 7.5. I think UConn's going to want to make a statement and cover that number tomorrow at home against Marquette, because they are going to be seeing each other later in the tournaments. So
that's going to be a great matchup. 8 in a row for Marquette going into the game, 13 straight for Connecticut. Line is currently 7.5 points, which is probably a decent number for UConn because they're always a huge favorite. against whoever their opponents are. They're
gonna want to make a statement, though, I think, and I could see them winning by 9-10 points or more on that game. I like UConn.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at a couple of games here. Of course, you got, Duke playing Florida State that's not ranked. FSU 12-11-1. None of these teams are doing that great against the spread. Duke on the road has not been anything special this year.
Correct.
They've covered 2 out of the last 5. FSU has beaten some decent teams, Wake Forest, Miami Hurricanes. I think FSU puts up a little fight here, man, and I'll take them plus the 5.5 to squeak in a cover.
Well, for a team that's not playing so that bad, I mean, they're 19-5, Duke, and they have been turning it around of late, and they are moving up the ladder in the top echelon of teams out there. But yeah, FSU's just they don't have the program they've had the last couple of years. I mean, they are a weaker type program, but Duke does seem to find a way not to pour it on certain games. So you're thinking that this could be that type of game where they might just come lackadaisical into this game against FSU, Tommy?
Duke has not had the greatest road record covering, so I'll grab the 5.5 points here and hope they put up a big fight.
All right.
Yeah, Duke's 2-4 against the spread away, but FSU's
I just don't like the way FSU's playing.
They're not playing well at all, but their defense is decent. They have a decent defense. Duke has a staunch defense, and I was looking at that game too. I didn't want to pull. I almost made that one of my plays. I do lean with Tommy, but I didn't want to make it one of my official plays just because I have a hard time betting against Duke. It's just tough.
They're the type of team that sticks it to you one way or another. You jump on them, they can't get the job done. You go against Duke, they find the way to beat you every time.
But this is kind of that situation we were talking about, ranked team going to unranked. It's kind of that situation we were just talking about.
But that's a good number on that game. Duke at 5.5 I think that's a real number. I think that's a solid number, and I think that makes sense. I think between you and me looking at numbers, and I'm a numbers guy, I think Duke wins this game by double digits. I just think they're too much firepower, and I just don't see FSU staying with them. They're not playing well right now. I see Duke moving up. Like I said, I look for momentum on teams. I like to see that, that stride, and I see the stride right now with Duke, and I think they're getting it all together, and I think they're going to pour it on in this game and make a statement. They want to get into the top 10. They want to, build their numbers going into these tournaments. So I like Duke in that game big time.
That game's a tough. I'm back and forth on that one. That's a no touch.
If that game was like 3.5 or something, I'd probably agree with you guys, and I would think that maybe FSU has a shot. But I think 5.5 on a game like that makes a lot of sense. Given FSU 5.5 at home, I think that makes them weak in my mind based on numbers, and I think that Duke can carry that game.
Now, guys, for those of you watching this, you might be thinking logically, why would Scotty want to take FSU if the line was lower? That's how the average person thinks. But the way we think is we try to get inside of the
real
brains
numbers
of the odds makers. So we look at it as if the number's bigger, like if FSU was only +3, that's showing some respect to FSU, and then we're going to show respect to FSU also. Whereas because of the fact that they made them +6, we're saying, hey, they're not showing FSU any respect. Maybe we shouldn't show them any respect either. That's what Scotty means by that for the new player that doesn't make sense to.
Yeah, I mean, it's all numbers, guys. At the end of the day, you think the Vegas is putting out a number, and Tommy could tell you that. He knows better than all of us when it comes to the betting number side of it. But at the end of the day, they're putting out a number on a game, don't forget, to attract money both ways. So they're trying to put out a fair number where they think they're going to get the action coming right down the middle. Because these sports books basically are looking to get the action down the middle. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. But there's certain numbers that you can really see if they're trap numbers based on our experience. Don't forget, we're doing this a long, long time. So we look for certain numbers on certain teams against certain opponents. And in my eyes, this number favors Duke for me based on how I look at things. Tommy, what's your thoughts on when they, on the numbers, like when they put a certain number on games?
Well, yes, especially these big games that are going to be on national TV. They want equal action, but many nights you could catch them when they're off. I mean, this is going to be a difficult game. I'm not saying this is a great. I wouldn't put it out as a 10-star match, but let's see in the end who shows up. If I could throw one other game out there, this is really a game that is not ranked. It's the Battle of Michigan, Central Michigan, Western Michigan. Western Michigan has just been in total shambles here. All right. Central Michigan has won like 5 games in a row. They're at home. I didn't have an exact number at the time, but Central Michigan covers that game tomorrow against Western Michigan. Western Michigan has no defense. That's a game that I kind of like. No one's really going to be looking at it. Central Michigan minus the points.
Okay. Strong play, light play.
I like Central Michigan because where you find value in college basketball are on these secondary type of games. We've been riding these plays out. I've been putting a lot out on my Instagram channel. We're catching blowouts every night or underdogs that are winning outright. So you got to find the value in college hoops.
All right, Teddy, anything on your mind?
He's so right. I love small schools, but for this show, if you want the good quality small school bets, you got to come to me directly. For this show here, I'm talking some big ones. So I actually want to talk about that Marquette game. I'm on the opposite side. I'm on the opposite side of Tommy on that one.
You like Connecticut?
I like Marquette plus the points.
Marquette.
Tommy likes UConn. I like Marquette plus the points. I think it's a lot of points for this matchup here. And Marquette has, UConn might want to prove something, but Marquette, if they win this game, if they don't win this game, they have no chance of winning the Big East. But if they win this game, they do have a solid chance of taking that Big East crown. They put up a lot of points. They're a quality team. The big problem with Marquette, 72-73% free throw shooting.
Yeah.
If Marquette
that comes to haunt you too.
It does.
Shooting.
If they make their
Very
free
important
throws,
to make those one-on-ones.
So important. They only really have one good Tyler Collette, really one good free throw shooter in the high 80s. The rest are lower.
That's another great point you made for handicapping purposes, because when you got a team that's an outstanding foul shooting team that's consistent versus a team that's inconsistent foul shooting and a certain number on a game, that could be the difference maker.
Especially on like a -3, -4, -5. The way a lot of these teams, guys, very important, the way a lot of these teams, and I'll come back to this game, the way a lot of these teams cover these spreads in college basketball are the free throws at the end.
Yeah,
so you're gonna have a 2-point lead and not a lot of time left,
line, right.
And then they start putting them on the line, and those players making those free throws is going to make the difference between whether that team covers the spread of
big time
4 or not.
Right.
Now back to this game. If Marquette can hit some more free throws and increase that free throw percentage a little bit, I think they keep this a close game. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think it's going to be a close game. I like Marquette to cover 7.5. I would buy it to 8, little half-a-point purchase.
Okay.
And another game that I love is Auburn at home, one of the toughest places to play. Kentucky, who has been faltering lately,
yeah, definitely.
They're calling for Calipari's head right now.
Really?
They're calling for John Calipari's head. This is
some rumblings, huh?
There's some rumblings. This is some of the worst, and he's
Coach Cal's
the highest paid coach in college basketball, probably,
if not one of them.
One of them.
Yeah.
And
he's been a fixture there for many years.
He's been a fixture. They lost to Gonzaga, which wasn't terrible, but then they also lost to some SEC teams.
Yeah, they were up
I think
and
they
down.
lost to like Tennessee, a couple other teams. They've lost like 5 out of their last 10 or something.
They're 5-5 in their last 10.
They've lost 5 out of their last 10. That's not.
And they lost a bunch at home, I think, right? Like 2 in a row.
Just so you guys are watching this, that is not good for Kentucky. Kentucky is not used to losing 5 out of 10 games in the regular season at this point. And here's another thing. Kentucky's a team that likes to run around, shoot threes, almost like that Golden State Warrior style of basketball. And Auburn's a rough team. They don't mind throwing elbows. They don't mind playing aggressive and rough. And they're dominating the spread at home. They're 6-0 against the spread at home. They're the only SEC team not to lose at home this year. And Kentucky is 1-5 against the spread.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough trip,
Auburn.
tough place for Kentucky.
I like Auburn a lot here. It's a lot of points, -8.5, but I think they're going to win by double digits.
I'm going to agree with you on that one myself. I think Auburn is a very strong team right now. They just, and like I said, they're peaking. They're moving in a good direction. Kentucky is just kind of playing level. They're up and down. They're struggling at best. They're going into a tough environment, hostile environment, and Auburn's going to come all jacked up to try to beat them and beat them soundly. So yeah, I think if Auburn's right in this game, and that's a good number. I mean, it's a high number against the Kentucky. When do you see Kentucky getting 8.5 points?
That's another reason I like it, because it's so high. If it was Auburn minus 5,
it could be a trap. That they're trapping you because everyone's looking at it to take Auburn because they think Kentucky's not that good. So there could be some value there. But I'm going to agree that Auburn is the right side of the game.
I think the casual fan jumps on Kentucky, though. They see Kentucky plus 9 points, and I think they just jump on that because they're not really paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, they're just going to get lured into it.
And then one more play that I kind of like. I like Kansas. I think they're like 1 point favorite or maybe 1 point dog against this Oklahoma team.
1.5 right now.
1.5 point favorite. So Kansas. So two teams that have been really skidding are Kansas and UNC. They both were number 1 seeds, projected number 1 seeds. Now they're both projected number 3 seeds, and I think Kansas wants to kind of take it back, right? They were playing really good. They've had a little bit of a slide.
Bill Self lost the control the other night. They threw him out.
Yeah.
Remember? He got all jacked up.
Yeah, because
against the refs.
That's what happens when big
they
teams
got blown
lose
out.
like that.
What they lose? Texas Tech, right? They
Not sure the score, but yeah, they lost to Texas Tech.
They got blown up by like 26 or 28.
So both of these teams, I mean, Oklahoma's 2-5 in their last 7 against the spread. Kansas is 1-5 in their last 6 on the road. Both of these teams have been having issues. They've been having injuries. Now, a couple of Kansas's players that were hurt are coming back. Oklahoma has injury issues also. Public money is all over Oklahoma in this game. So I'm rolling with Kansas. It's a light bet, but my really big bet is Auburn minus those points.
I'm going to agree with you on the Auburn play, definitely. I think, like I said, if they're right in that particular situation, they could roll and win that game by at least 12 or more points. One other game I really liked, I think here's a team that's been playing dynamite and seems like they're on the upswing as well and playing real strong of late. I like Tennessee to win blowout that game. Tennessee in a big blowout. The line is like 21 points. I would probably get that line to like 20 and a half. I would jump all over Tennessee. I think that they're going to win. If they're right in this game, they win this game by 28 to 30 points in an absolute romp.
A lot of big favorites haven't been covering lately, though, in college basketball, man.
Yeah, you just got to find the right ones. The right ones. That's it. You got to find the right teams peaking at the right time.
For years.
Yeah. You haven't found it yet? I figured, wait a minute. I got to ask you, how was the Super Bowl party, by the way? Not to jump gears here.
I might find it next week, man. You never know, right?
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, I might find it next week. It might cost me, but I'll find it.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes it's worth. Sometimes it's worth paying. Sometimes happiness. It's worth paying to have a little happiness, man.
Well, listen.
Right, Ben?
We're going to Sin City, people. So pulling out all the stops.
You want to talk about that now? Or you want to wait?
Well, no, you guys continue.
So Tommy's going to say, when he gets back from Vegas, they say you can't buy happiness, but I proved them wrong. Listen, I want to bring up the Florida Panthers. So Ben, Ben, do you do the Cats and Bolts show?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they obviously had a lot to talk about this week because the Panthers are playing the Lightning. So the Cats are playing the Bolts tomorrow. 5 or 6 o'clock, I think, somewhere around there. The Panthers right now are the best team in hockey. I don't think there's any arguing with that.
Hot.
And they're not only hot, but if you watch them play, they're playing harder and more aggressive than I've ever seen. They have this identity of almost like the villain of the NFL, of the NHL. They're like the villain. They're playing physical, and they're pissing teams off, and it's causing teams to react. And when the teams react, they get the penalty called against them, and they're dominating 4-0, 5-2, big domination, 10-0 on the road. Now the only thing scary to me about this game, they are 3-7 in their last 10 against Tampa Bay, but it doesn't matter because
but they're playing so great now on the road.
They're playing a different type of hockey right now.
Yeah.
They have the number 2 defense in the league. And Matthew Tkachuk is really he's obviously a finesse goal scorer type of player, but he doesn't mind getting down and dirty also. He's, to me, the coolest player in hockey at the moment. Just because of the way he plays. I love watching him.
I'll tell you,
I love watching the team, and I'm not just saying it because it's in my backyard.
No, you got to give them props, man. I mean, they won 10. I think they won their 10th game in a row on the road without a loss. I mean, that's incredible. Think about in the NHL, if you have a 500 record or a little better throughout the season, I mean, that's considered a pretty good achievement because you're going to win. Better teams are going to win the majority of their home games. So even on the road, if you're like, let's say 60%, you win 60% of your games. But the Panthers, I mean, they've been just killing it, and they're dominating their games 4-0. I think their last couple of games were shutouts, right?
5-2.
Yeah, and they had a backup goalie, and they didn't even have Bobrovsky in there, and they won 4-0 last night. I think they beat Buffalo, right? Was Buffalo?
Yeah, Buffalo Sabres, and a lot of a lot of people say like this, they have possibly have the
They're
best
chasing
backup.
the Bruins right now. They're 2 points behind the Bruins.
They possibly, but since the 23rd of December, they have the best record in the league. They started a little slow, and that's the other thing. Their backup goalie is really, really good.
Yeah,
he could be a starter on most teams.
Yeah. Well, that's the key.
And that's important.
Hot goalies towards the end of the year. I told you that like earlier in the year. A hot goalie in the NHL, man, they could carry a team to a whole different level that you didn't even think you were going to get to. So that's clutch when you have a hot goalie.
We need to get Coach Serena back on the show once the season gets rolling.
Definitely. She has a lot more hockey knowledge than we do.
Yeah, she's Canadian, and she's very good. So we'll definitely reach out to her.
It seems like, though, it's the top 6 teams that are just dominating the NHL. It's really outside of that. It's just, these other teams are like there, but they're not really there. I mean, it seems like these tops, the Rangers, staying on top, the Bruins, the Panthers, Winnipeg, Vancouver. Vegas.
So that brings me to the top 10 most profitable teams in hockey as of today, February 16th. Number 1, still the Vancouver Canucks, as it was a couple weeks ago when I went on this list. But climbing to number 2, the Florida Panthers. Yep. New York Rangers, number 3. Winnipeg Jets, number 4. Dallas Stars, number 5. Edmonton Oilers, 3 Canadian teams in the top 6. Colorado, 7. Boston, 8. Yep. Vegas, 9. Carolina, 10. Now, here's the real surprise. Profitability-wise, as far as units, more units than any other team on this list, the St. Louis Blues.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, they're in the middle of the pack, kind of below the middle of the pack kind of team, but like I said, I think it's going to be the teams that are staying on top of their divisions right now look like the dominating teams. Was there like about 30 games left in the regular season, if not less than that? The NHL, I think they're about 50 or so, 55 games in. There might be about 28 games left.
They're about 50. Yeah, they're about 55 games in right now.
Yeah. So you got an 81 game season in the NHL? 82 games.
I think it's 80-something.
81, yeah. I think it is.
Now, here's some interesting numbers. Future to win the Stanley Cup. The Florida Panthers you get good odds at Bet Rivers. You could actually get plus 1,100 on the Florida Panthers to win the Stanley Cup. The favorite right now across the board is the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, because they won 15, 16 in a row?
They won
and then they lost
14 in a row, 15 in a row, something like that.
The problem with some of these teams, I mean, they play good during the regular season, like the Panthers. I mean, last year, they got to the finals, but they have pretty good regular seasons. You better take something for that, Tommy. We got to get you some chicken noodle soup or some tea and honey over there.
Well, the Panthers,
How about just the honey, the hell the tea?
The Panthers last year, they just sneaked in. They didn't have a great regular season. They sneaked in at 8.
Yeah.
And they went
but
to the Cup.
Before that, though, they had really good regular seasons.
The year before that, they won the President's Cup and lost in the first or second round.
Right.
And the Bruins won the President's Cup last year.
Had the best record ever.
Best record of all time, and they lost in the first round.
Yeah,
so
you never know.
Take that for what you will. You just got to get in. You don't got to worry about winning every game and being the top seed. You got to get in and worry about the rest there.
I want to talk to the Big Kahuna because the Big Kahuna's got pretty exciting news for us as far as the show and some directions we're going in. So, Big Kahuna, if you want to take the stage, as they say, give the audience a little notice on what's going on with us and the directions that we're going in.
Well, yeah, we've been invited to go out to Vegas next week, and I want to shout out to Podcast Junkies because this is the studio we use in Boca Raton, but they have a sister studio in Las Vegas. So the Vegas studio invited us to come out, and we're going to be on their show, Action Junkies. All right. And they have some very interesting guests. We're going to be out there for about 3 days, and we're going to be shooting a lot of different content in various sports books. But I'm real excited because it's taken us to a new level. Vegas, no doubt the entertainment capital of the world. Unfortunately, we're a week late from the Super Bowl, but that's okay. There's going to be a really good show. We're going to be talking about just the Vegas environment for betting and just the whole entertainment, what's going on out there. We will have some picks we will putting out, but a must watch. We're going to be taping it on Thursday, so it'll probably be out next Friday. And once again, shout out to Podcast Junkies, who's making this happen.
Very, very cool. The only thing that studio in Vegas does not have is our producer Ben and the other producer Christian. Who
there you go.
They're the guys that really keep it coming here every week.
Ben, maybe jump on that plane and come on out with us.
Hey, if Tommy D is taking care of it,
Tommy B footing the bill. Tommy,
if he's taking care of it, you sign me up. I'll be there.
My suitcase is big enough for you, Ben. So let me know.
He's got all his hair products in there, Ben. Yeah. God knows what else is in there because he's looking to have a good time for a short time.
The old saying, when you go to Vegas, you got to have some equipment. So, yeah.
The last time Tommy went to Vegas, he drove in a $200,000 custom Mercedes and went home in a $300,000 Greyhound. It wasn't a good weekend. Yeah. Very bad. Yep. Yeah. That was the last time. I don't know what happened.
Telling me not to come back into this town, but no.
All right, yeah, guys. We're excited about it. We're going to be in Viva Las Vegas next week. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff out there, like Tommy said. Teddy's not going to join us because Teddy's got to hold the fort back.
I'll be there on Zoom.
You're going to be there on the Zoom. There you go.
We're definitely going to have Teddy on Zoom. And, yeah, it's going to be really big. And we're going to be exploring a couple of different, areas. I'm going to be shooting from a bunch. I'm going to go down to the Circa. I have a very good friend that is in management down there. So we're going to be shooting at the Circa Sportsbook, and we're going to be checking out just the different venues down there. It's definitely going to be an interesting trip.
Sounds great.
Very cool.
Looking forward to it. I hope we get on the road with your budget a little more this year, and we make this show a little more exciting because I think the people need to see us out there. I mean, we're in the studio. It's great here. Like you said, Ben does an unbelievable job for us each and every time. But at the end of the day, man, we got to get out there, let the people, see what's cooking in the world we're in. But we got a few minutes left, guys, so I want to get to – is there anything on your mind you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah. There's always something on my mind.
I know he's got something up his sleeve. He was sitting there quiet.
All right. I'm like one of those cars that used to wind up, and you just let it go.
Just wait for it to go.
All right. So, guys, there's a lot of trolls on social media, and I try not to let it bother me because I'm blessed to be able to do what I do, make money from the sports betting, and I share it, and some people just don't like it, and they hate on it. That's fine. But when people spread misinformation that can affect other people and what to expect in sports betting, I have to call it out. So, producer Ben, put this comment. So I had a video.
Could you see that?
I'm 60. Yeah, you could. The people watching it'll be able. We can't see it, but the people watching will be able to see it. So I'm like 67% in my last 80 games or something. I don't know the exact numbers, but if you guys go on there, you'll see.
Was that comment made towards you?
Yeah. So pull it back up real quick, Ben. So this comment said 60. Yeah, hold on. All right. So this comment said 65% sounds like it's not even worth it, boss. Find a better career. Youngins nowadays be making 10x what you probably want to make.
Let me tell you something. Let me stop right there. Not in the sports betting world, you're not.
Right.
If you're hitting 65% and you're playing right and you manage your money right, let me tell you something. You're making real money.
So the question is, why does this kid who, Ben, put up the other picture, he's a young kid, clearly, 0 posts, 183 followers, and he has a Fliff link in his bio. I don't even know what that's all. I know what Fliff is. It's like a fake sports betting website. But anyway, so my point is like this young kid is obviously being fed misinformation on the internet about higher percentages, 80%, 90%. And there's a lot of people out there being fed this information. So guys, let me explain something. No one is going 80%. No one is going 90% long term over the course of a season or year in sports betting. It's not going to happen.
No.
Unless you're playing minus 500 favorites, which you're going to crush yourself doing. So I just want to, for anyone watching this, get the misinformation out there. You do not want to be believing people that are saying that you can go 90% betting sports. And I'll leave it at that.
I'll tell you, I got a better one. Let them come. If they could do that, great. We'll take them.
We'll hire them.
We'll hire them, and we'll go with them right to the window. We'll stop doing what we're doing.
Yeah,
if they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
I'm surprised you even let that get to you, my friend.
I don't let it get to me.
I get that all the time.
I want to educate people because there are people that believe that it could happen.
Yeah.
And I want to teach people like, don't expect that because it's not going to happen. And I think we're doing a good thing for people.
Hey.
And
we're trying.
On a future podcast, I do want to talk more about how we help people become smarter bettors, but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line, guys, come on, realistic. If you're playing daily a lot of games and you're all over the road, there is no chance you're going to make money betting in the long run. Yeah, you could have a great day. We all know that. Everyone could say, "Oh, I hit this thing. I made all this money today." Tell me what you're doing 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now. A year. Whatever. One day means absolutely nothing. What?
Especially if they're betting parlays, which most young guys are.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter because at the end of the day, one good day is not going to make or break your entire season if you're playing on a daily basis. And that's what I tell guys. Guys, listen, if we lose today, you don't write it off. It's one loss. You follow a system and you money manage and you play correctly. And if you do all that and we do our numbers the way we expect to do, you're going to be profitable. That's it, bottom line.
All right, we'll talk more about that on future shows.
All right, we got to wrap it up because I'm getting a dirty look from Ben. I know he's got a date tonight. He's taking her out to some fancy-dancy restaurant, so we want to get out of here.
Sponsored by Tommy D.
Tommy D's footing the bill. I can't get him to foot anything, man.
Well, we still owe you that steak. We'll get that covered.
There you go. Guys, can you believe I'm still waiting for the divisional
Bring it home,
round,
Scotty.
Yeah, divisional round tomahawk at the NYY Steakhouse. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Tommy, tell the people out there where they can find you and get all your great information you're providing on a daily basis.
Well, Instagram has to be the go-to place, OSB_sports. I put up multiple videos daily, free picks. My YouTube channel, OSB-sports. And check out the website, guys. We have this odds feed. You could shop numbers. Good articles up daily, onlinesportsbet.com. But next week, you want to definitely check out our show.
Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas.
There you go. Thanks again for coming on. I know you're not 100%. Just shows you the trooper you are, and we appreciate that.
Show must go on.
Let's go to the man over here. My man, Teddy Brooks. Where can the people find your outstanding work each and every day trying to give the players the betting edge?
You can find me at youtube.com/@thesportsprophets or Instagram _profits_picks, pick no S, 45 and 21 in our last 66 plays.
Kicking ass, man.
With 2 Ivy League games pending tonight. Love you guys.
All right. And don't forget, next week, you got to be here holding the fort down for us while the Big Kahuna and I are rolling out in Las Vegas. All right, guys, I'm Scott Matthews. I am the host of this great show, the OSB Sports Podcast. You can also find me. I put out daily plays every day, daily free plays on TikTok, which is SM Picks. That's my handle, SM Picks, Picks, and on Instagram, SM Sports Picks, Picks. It's a pleasure doing this show each and every week with you guys. And check it all out on all podcast forums. That's right, all podcast forums, whether it's Spotify, Apple. This is the one and only OSB Sports Podcast. We'll see you back here next week.